Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review. Tonight was night 3 of Ultima Lucha Trace. One more week left. Next week's going to be the 2-hour finale. And as far as night 3 is concerned, I loved it. Again, I thought great matches, great pacing. For me personally, I'm going to say right out of the gate, the Trios Championship match was the match of the night for me. And I've got quite a bit to say about that. But I don't want to hear my own voice. I'm going to hand it over to my cohort and commentary. What did you think about night 3, man, especially compared to night 2 last week?
I think I agree with your sentiments exactly. I think that the latter match was the best of the 3. And honestly, I would even go as far as to say I might have enjoyed Sexy Star Taya more than Son of Havoc Pentagon, which is the opposite of what I expected. Relating it to part 2, I think it was better than part 2, but maybe not as good as part 1.
Interesting. I'm thinking, though, I'm hoping anyway, because on paper, it looks fantastic, that night 4, the finale, is just going to be like, yes, this is fucking Ultima Lucha. And, yeah, man, you know what? Let's get right into our Lucha Underground review. I don't want to waste any more time on this. So we go to commentary, because we only got one cinematic tonight. You should know that, guys, at the very end of the show. So it was mainly matches. And we do open up with Last Luchadora standing. And given that you're kind of working out your personal hierarchy of matches, partner, I want you to go first on this. What did you think of Taya versus Sexy Star and Last Luchadora standing?
I thought that this was actually a really, really good match. I don't know if Taya being the only person to bleed makes a ton of sense. I think that blood being in this match does make sense, but I think it almost seems like they were going really like out of their way to make sure that it seems like Sexy Star has this personal grudge with Taya, which I definitely get that, but it seems like Taya has almost been picking on Sexy Star more than the other way around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Well, actually no.
You know what? No, I think now that the more I think about it, the more it does make sense that Taya would be the one to bleed and not Sexy, because, yeah, like, the more I think about it, like, Taya has kind of screwed Sexy Star over at every turn. I think the really disappointing thing about this match for me was that we still don't know what the hell was going on with those spiders with Sexy Star.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I feel like if there's ever like a Lucha Underground like Reddit Q&A or something, like somebody's got to ask that, because I'd love to know what the plan for that was. I don't want to cut the legs off of your review though, because I do have a bit I want to say, but do continue. Is there anything else you want to say about this match?
Well, no, I was just kind of in my mind. I'm thinking about the history of these two women, and the first time that they really interacted that I can remember was Sexy Star getting screwed out of the Gift of the Gods title by Taya, handing Johnny the brass knucks, and then getting screwed out of the world title by her clocking Sexy Star with brass knucks of her own after posing as someone in the crowd with a Sexy Star sign, or wearing a Sexy Star mask, actually. So, yeah, Taya really did kind of screw Sexy Star, but I don't think Taya saw it as like a personal attack on Sexy Star. That was just Taya trying to help Johnny Mundo. So Sexy Star thinks that it's this big personal thing, and Taya's just like, listen, girl, this is not personal. This is just business. I'm just helping my man win the title, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it makes sense that Sexy Star, the person that thinks this is a more personal feud, would be the one to bust her opponent open, whereas Taya, who probably cares less about winning this match individually, wouldn't be able to kind of muster up the anger and fury to do the same to her opponent. So now that I think about it, I take back my complaint about Taya being the only one to bleed in this match. That was the only thing that mattered, that made sense.
Yeah, you know what? This is why I love your interpretation of shit, because more often than not, it's more logically grounded than my interpretation of things. Because, like, and I know, right? I know that Taya was clearly the Rudo and Sexy was the Technico, but I did find it interesting, the choice of having Taya bleed and not Sexy Star, because I always feel like people that bleed in matches like this are naturally going to be more sympathetic because they're fighting through blood loss, and they're going through that fatigue and everything else. So I almost got almost like a Stone Cold Bret Hart kind of vibe where Taya's like fighting through this pain.
Yeah, you clearly have that biased slant though, where like.
Well, yeah, I mean, and yeah, I'd readily admit that. And again,
no, I'm not trying to like say that it's a bad thing. I'm just like trying to bring that out to the forefront so the people that aren't familiar with us know you. Right. hardcore Johnny Mundo and Taya fan, and you dislike Sexy Star pretty well. Maybe not super strongly as far as a Lucha Underground character goes, but as an individual human being, I know that you're not the biggest fan of hers. But even
Right.
Underground character, you were a big fan of hers early on, and you just kind of got more and more jaded by the character as time went on. So I know you're not the biggest fan of hers. I know you love Taya. So the fact that Taya bled makes you kind of feel like, oh, are they doing a double turn here because you want to root for Taya?
Yeah, I mean, I got that impression early on, but I mean, it was very quickly dispelled, and I want to make that clear right here, too. I'm just saying it's weird when you make a choice like this, because that's the shit it makes me think of. Like, oh, you're having the heel bleed and fight through all this because Taya stayed in it, and she never really seemed to be particularly underhanded against Sexy, and granted, Sexy really wasn't particularly underhanded against Taya either. I just thought in something like this, like, both women would bleed. I wasn't really surprised that there was blood. I think, like you, I was just kind of surprised that blood was only confined to one individual rather than say, like, I feel like in No Mas both Mariposa and Sexy bleeded, or maybe that was just Sexy and I'm remembering wrong. But either way, I'd say my
just Sexy the blood in that.
Okay, then I did remember wrong, which I mean really isn't a surprise. But I'd say my only nitpick, I felt like this match kind of ended abruptly because I felt like they were really getting in that next gear, and then before I knew it, it was over. But at the same time, I could tell from that table spot when they fell from that distance that, yeah, Sexy was winning. The match is going to end. So
yeah,
if anything...
You know what? I'm glad you brought up No Mas, because that actually really does make me, like, kind of think. The positions, even though Sexy Star was still the face and her opponent was still the heel, the positions still switched in the sense that in No Mas, I felt like Sexy Star was very much more defensive. Like, she was trying not to get beat up. She was trying to overcome fear, that kind of thing. Whereas Mariposa was able to be more offensive. She was more aggressive. She was going on the attack. She was trying to hurt and intimidate and damage Sexy Star. So that makes sense as to why Sexy Star would bleed, even if she is the baby face and those dynamics are the same. But in this match, Sexy Star was very much more the aggressor. She was more off on the offense. She was more the attacker. Taya was more on the defensive, more passive, more just trying not to get injured. You know what I mean? Because really, like, I kind of get this sense from this feud that it's like Taya is like the head cheerleader with Johnny Mundo being like the quarterback of the football team.
Right.
And Taya notices this girl, in this case, whoever you would say in the high school is played by Sexy Star, maybe glancing looks at the quarterback, and she starts picking on her and going after her and intimidating her and stuff. And then this match is kind of that moment where it's like the girl that's being picked on is finally standing up for herself. That's what this match is to me. This is Star being picked on by Taya over the course of months and months and months, finally being like, okay, I'm putting my foot down. This is bullshit. And so she becomes the aggressor. Taya is just like, listen, I like her. This is not actually something that she would say, but she's thinking on the inside, like, why is this girl going psycho on me? I was just, making fun of her. It's not like I was physically attacking her or anything. And Sexy Star is thinking in her mind, like, this bitch was trying to make my life terrible. I want to kill her. So the mindsets are very different. Taya is in a much more, I don't want to get hurt kind of mindset. Sexy Star is in a much more, I want to kill this bitch kind of mindset.
Right. Yeah. And I think your analysis of the match was perfect. I did enjoy the chemistry between these. I thought the strike battles they had with the chops and multiple instances were always like made me feel very engaged, very sucked in. I thought this was another great match between two luchadoras and Lucha Underground. And yeah, I mean, the matches like this always make you curious about the future because, like you noted in live reactions, it doesn't appear that Sexy's going to be a part of season 4 with Lucha.
It seems, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily impossible. I won't just full-blown dismiss it entirely, but it does seem very unlikely that she will remain employed with Lucha Underground.
Which, kind of makes you think, well, where's Taya going to go? Because I will say this, and I know it was said like a long time ago, about Worldwide Underground's inevitable dissolution, where like, oh, this person's going to do this person's going to do that. If that happens, because you never know, Lucha Underground could subvert that too. They subvert things all the time. I still think performances like this make a great case for Taya as a future Technico. I still think she could be like a really top performer in that temple. And I thought this was another great outing for her and a great outing for Sexy. You know, even though I've kind of fallen out of favor with her a little bit because I'm just kind of over it, I was a big advocate of hers to start for a reason. And that's because I think, you know, the character works, and it works because of performances like this. So, yeah, solid outing between these two. And I've really got nothing else to say. So unless you do, we can move on.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, you said we can move on. From what I remember, the only thing that we got on this show up until the post-credit scene was matches. So I'm guessing that means that we can jump right into our next match, which was the Trios Championship match. We actually came back from commercial with the Reptile Tribe already in the ring, the champions in the ring already. They got essentially what is kind of seen to be the jobber entrance. And then out comes the challenging trio of the Mac, Killshot, and eventually Dante Fox. And this match was a barn burner. It was not the best match of Ultima Lucha Trace because a couple of guys that were in this match had that on their own in Hell of War. But this is, I would argue, this is the second best match of Ultima Lucha Trace so far behind that.
Wow. See, now, I don't know if I'd go that far necessarily because I think...
What other match do you think was better than this but not as good as Hell of War?
Damn, I didn't think you'd put me on the spot right away because I was going to say, like, you'd have to give me time to think about it. But what I was going to say...
Well, I mean, let's just think about what matches we've had so far. Last week, I mean, I think last week we had the Gift of the... Or no, that wasn't the Gift of the Gods. Last week we had the Unique Opportunity Battle Royal. We had Ivelisse Katrina, and we had Marty Phoenix. And then the same night as Hell of War, we also had another match that I'm trying to remember that I can't remember. What was the other match on night one?
God, I can't remember either, honestly, because this card's been so stacked. Let me think. Jesus.
I'm gonna Google it and see if I can find it. And
be careful you don't run into any spoilers, bro.
And yeah, I was just gonna say, and hopefully not get spoiled. Let's see. It was Wagner versus Tejano.
Well, then, you know what? I guess when you really put it like that, yeah, this was the second best match. So do continue your review of this Trios Championship match.
Oh, I mean, I didn't even really start a review. I just said that the match was awesome. And even though I wouldn't say it was the best, I would say it's second best behind Hell of War.
Yeah, and well, I mean, and now going into that though, what did you think of this match, like specifically, like the dynamic of Mac, Killshot?
I think that the best review I can give is just kind of quoting myself, saying what I already said in our live reactions. I felt like I was watching this match on fast forward. This was so fast paced and action packed. Like it really did feel like they were moving at a mile a minute in there. I loved the story with sort of, you know, every time Vibora got tagged in, things kind of broke down, and it seemed like when Vibora was in, so was everyone else. But when any other member of the Reptile Tribe was in, the challenging team were more complicit with the rules, and they just kept one guy in the ring. You know what I mean? Did you notice?
Yeah.
When Vibora got tagged in, things broke down. Multiple people from the challenging team came in and started trying to beat him down, and sometimes they didn't even succeed at that. And because of that, then other members of the Reptile Tribe came in. This was a shorter match, unfortunately, but at the same time, it was the fact that it was short didn't necessarily take away from it. It was still awesome.
Yeah, the reason why I asked for your review, because I actually have quite a bit I want to say about this match. First of all, just to address that point very quickly, I actually like that this match was shorter. Not that I was bored by the match, on the contrary, as I'll explain in a few moments. But I think narratively it makes sense, because two of those guys were really injured after Hell of War and really beaten up. So to see them go like on a clinic, I think would kind of suck me out a little bit. Like, I still have a shit ton of fun with it, but upon further reflection, I'd be like, well, can I really buy that? So I actually am glad it was on the shorter side, because then it just makes me think, yeah, they gave all they could give, given what they had put each other through, you know, Dante Fox and Killshot in particular. So yeah, I actually did like that. I agree with your analysis wholeheartedly. I thought that was excellently articulated. And for me, the big takeaway for me from this match, which I adored, and I'm just going to say straight away, I love that we have new trios champions. I love the Reptile Tribe. I adore Cobra Moon. In fact, if anything, again, my wish list for Season 4, same as Season 3, I want more Cobra Moon. I want more Cobra Moon cinematics. I want more Cobra Moon everything. But I love that this team are the new trios champions, and I've got to say, man, Killshot and Dante are holding it down. They are holding it down for this promotion, something fierce. Because the idea that you can have two brilliant matches on the biggest show, and you had a great soundbite and live reactions. Kayfabe, these guys had 2 weeks to recover. In real time, it was a day. So you have a hellacious CCW style match.
Yeah, like I think it was a day. It might have even been same day, but I think they at least got to like go home and sleep before they had to have this match.
Either way, though, whether you had that space or not, and especially if not, because that's even more impressive, but it's still an impressive freaking feat that you can do what those two did, and then all banged up, and you saw at least like 2 shots of Dante's back throughout the course of this match. I honestly felt my gag reflex wanting to go into overtime, but I swallowed it because we're recording. Amazing. Just amazing, these two. And that's why, like, the only reason I'm really going out of my way and I'm really expounding upon this and I'm really hammering it home is because, yeah, we are going to have big departures. Sexy doesn't seem like she's going to be around. Ricochet, we know, isn't. But honestly, and I don't even say this disrespectfully, who needs them? Because when you've got talents this fucking good right now, they're going to hold down the fort. They are seriously so freaking good. Like, I adore Johnny Mundo with every ounce of my being. If he would up and leave, I mean, it would break my fucking heart, but they'd still be okay because when you have talents like this, you're always going to have a future. And that's the biggest compliment I can pay. Really, all 3 of these guys. I don't want to leave Mac out in the cold, but especially though, Killshot and Dante Fox for the work they've put in on this card. It is unreal to me, and I think for that reason alone, they deserve to win those belts, and I'm really looking forward to this run, and narratively, if that's going to mend the relationship between Killshot and Dante, or if just something's going to happen in it to just widen the rift, and we can do this all over again, which I wouldn't mind either, honestly. This was easily the best match of the night, and upon further reflection right here, you guys know I agree with Ashton, the second best match of Ultima Lucha Trace, and these guys still had the best match because of Elevor. Like, god damn, like Dolph Ziggler, eat your fucking heart out, because these are 2 show stealers. They tried to steal the show from themselves, and they just fell short. Unbelievable. Love these guys.
Absolutely. Oh. Yeah, I love these guys. They're awesome. So now I think we can move on to our final match. What do you think?
Yeah, man, let's talk about it.
Okay, so our final match being the Gift of the Gods Championship ladder match between Pentagon Dark and Son of Havoc. So this match, I think, might be, and I hate that I'm even saying this, but this match might be the most disappointing match that we've gotten so far on Ultima Lucha Trace.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I think,
I didn't hate it until the finish, and I didn't even hate the result of the match. I just hated the way that we got there.
Right, because I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but based on like your live reactions, I think you felt like the final sequence was a bit contrived. Is that fair to say?
I mean, contrived is definitely a word that fits. It just really, I love lucha style wrestling when it's like the high flying crazy flippy shit, but my least favorite element of lucha libre is the complete and utter lack of psychology that they tend to have. And that is, I think, why I like the Americanized version of lucha that we're getting in Lucha Underground, because that Americanized aspect gives it the story, and Lucha Underground provides a lot of the backstory as well. But when you've got one guy do a devastating finishing move through chairs set up like a table, and then spend what felt like a good 3 to 5 minutes setting up 2 ladders and a table, not because they benefit him or help him to win or help him to get the championship in any way, but because they had this cool spot in mind where they would both be standing on a horizontal ladder and one of them would throw the other one through a parallel table. I could not stand that. Like, I love both of these guys individually as workers, but that was the worst single moment, I think, in all of Ultima Lucha.
Yeah, I'm hard-pressed to defend it, because here's the thing. How could I defend this? If you go back and you listen to our live reactions, which I encourage everybody to do, like, my reaction to the package pile driver on the chairs, I even said, like, that's it. Like, I exclaimed, that's it. He's done. It's over. Yeah. And
the thing is, I understand why, from sort of a match structure standpoint, he couldn't just end it there, because that was almost like it basically comes down to, are we going to complain about the finish being contrived, or are we going to complain about the finish being anticlimactic? Because if they would have ended it on the fear factor through the chairs, it would have felt anticlimactic, because it's like, oh, well, Pentagon hit his finisher through some chairs. Obviously, he's going to win, and then he won. Or they can do this obnoxious, contrived thing that ends up leading to a cool spot that feels more conclusive. But then you have the problem of, oh, well, why the hell would he bother doing all that when he had the match won earlier?
See, now, again, maybe it's me just projecting a bit much, because I'm agreeing with everything in what you're saying. I think my problem, especially when you look at the two stories of how these guys got here, for Son of Havoc, it's been a very arduous season. You know, he got screwed out of the Ultima Lucha Trace main event to begin with at the end of season 2, you know, at Cueto's hands. And then he spends this season, you know, trying to get back, and then Son of Madness and all that stuff. I just feel like, and I don't want to say it, and maybe I'm alone in this, I feel like this kind of made Havoc look bad in a way, because you get packaged pile driven through the chairs, and like that could beat anybody. I'm not holding that against Havoc. But then your opposition spends time setting up all these weapons and stuff to do further damage to you. So it's not even a case, right, where they're ascending the ladder and somehow you find it in you to scale it up, and we're like, oh my God, you know, it's Havoc, whatever, which I think could have been a cool moment. It's no, instead he wants to do this, and then Havoc starts to stir because Pentagon's rethinking shit, but Havoc still loses the exchange. Yeah. And like, to me, I find the whole thing rather deflating, because if I'm watching it, right, and I see my guy, like if I'm rooting for Havoc, get packaged, pile driven, like through all those chairs, again, I'm already saying like it's done, it's over.
Yeah, like if you're in that position where you're a fan of the guy and he that happens, you're like, all right, just end it, end my misery, and then they give you hope and then rip it away.
Yeah, which again, I don't even want to make it seem like, oh, John, you were rooting for Son of Havoc, which to be fair, I was, and I'm mad that Pentagon Dark won. I'm not mad Pentagon Dark won. I can understand why he won, but I don't understand why you just didn't give him the dominant win when we know what Son of Havoc's story has been all season, and I feel like him, him having that comeback only to be denied again, like it does fit the Son of Havoc character, but I think in a way that doesn't really do him any favors, because he's lost 2 exchanges now. And I thought, like, normally you'd have the fiery babyface comeback. So maybe I'm alone in that. But really, upon further reflection, I don't really think that makes Son of Havoc look the greatest, which is a shame.
Honestly, I don't want to keep kind of dumping on this match, but I think this is also probably the worst ladder match Lucha Underground's ever had.
Well, how many? Because yeah, they had the Gift of the Gods with, I think, Phoenix and King Cuerno. That was well done. The Trios Championship ladder match I thought was insane. You know, with Team Havoc and the Crew. The briefcase ladder match between Big Rick, Johnny Mundo, and I think it was Puma. That was also really well done. I thought even Big Rick contributed, worthwhile stuff to that match. So you might actually be right about that. I don't want to take the piss out of this match either unnecessarily, but when you're right, you're right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I definitely see where you're coming from. In the end, Pentagon Dark wins. Again, I understand it, so I'm not gonna, lambast the call. I just feel like after the package fight, because I know, like you said, it was anticlimactic, and that may have been true, but at least it was believable. Like, if you were gonna scale a ladder after you damn near broke a guy's neck, that I can at least believe. But then you do all of that, and it definitely takes me out of it. You know what it reminds me of, if I'm being honest? It really just kind of bolsters the point that you initially made. When Ember Moon was like going to NXT, and I told you I went back and I watched some of her old matches. There was one I was trying to watch. It was her. It was Athena versus, I think, Hanaya was her name, and it was a TLC match. And I had to quit the match halfway through because I saw the cameramen and other people setting up spots for Hanaya and Athena to do. And like when you can tell that a spot's being set up, it sucks you out. I think that's what kind of happened to you and I here, because we knew where it was going, and then they do it, and then I'm like, I didn't want to just totally say fuck you to this match because they still did some great stuff. But it's like, come on, man, like you could have just really done the more straightforward thing. So yeah, I definitely think it's a weaker entry for Ultima Lucha Trace. Coincidentally, when they have another strong entry in the Trios Championship match, so kind of weird how that all works out.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So, I mean, I really don't have a ton to add to this. I thought that the match itself was decent right up until that finish. But even then, I felt like the match was a little bit slower than I was hoping it would be, a little bit clunky. And then the finish just really hurt it.
Yeah, like you, I really actually did enjoy the match up until this point. I liked, some of the elements like, oh, Son of Heaven would try and scale a ladder, but then Pentagon Dark would take his leg out, which is I noted on live reactions, like, that's smart. Son of Havoc almost like going for a shooting star. I didn't understand that at all, but then Pentagon's counter was pretty sick.
Yeah, that was another, like, why are you doing this? He set the ladder up on top of Pen as opposed to laying Pentagon on top of the ladder, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
The decision making was severely hampered by both competitors in this match. So
yeah. So really, I think that's the review, because I can't think of anything else I would say that wouldn't belabor the points that we've already made. So if you're ready to move on, I am.
All right, let's move on. What did we have next, John?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was getting ready to do our next segment on TWitWoW, but no, we did have the cinematic with Puma and Vampiro. Vampiro essentially is just pumping Puma up, saying, that you're going to take your title and, you're going to beat Johnny Mundo. And he said, you understand? And Puma said yes. But then the more interesting bit, and maybe you can help me out with this, I thought I heard Vampiro say the name Pentagon, almost like he was speaking to Pentagon and like as Pentagon. And then thank you,
Master. I actually did get a message on Twitter from somebody who is working on this show, and they said that there was a voice that said to Vampiro, "You have done well," and Vampiro responded, "Thank you, Master."
Oh, see, now I had like a slight inkling that could be. The only thing that threw me off again is what I thought I heard Pentagon. Oh my gosh, so Vampiro answering to somebody. Let's unpack this, because now this cinematic, its interest went from like, I don't know, like a 6, because it's just like pre-stuff before the main event, to like a 10, because now the narrative element of Vampiro answering to a master. What do you think about that, man?
Yeah, I'm definitely, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I'm really curious to see where they're going with this. I thought at first that it was Pentagon, and it was like, oh, well, I mean, he said at the end of season 2, I'm the master now, right? And
right.
Yeah, so like I was thinking like, oh, so Pentagon are still in cahoots, but now Pentagon is the master, like he said at the end of season 2. But then we find out that it was just some voice that we don't know about, that we've never seen before. So I mean, I guess there's a possibility it could still be Pentagon, but I don't know, man. I do not know at all. I'm so thrown off by this revelation that I don't even know what to think.
Do you think this is separate from or intertwined with the Lord and everything he's got going on?
It could be intertwined, but again, I have no clue. My mind was blown by this DM that I got.
Yeah, dude, that sounds crazy. And I'm so thankful for that clarification, because that matters. That's the difference between thinking it's just like something with Pentagon and then, oh no, it's just a whole new element in the Luchaverse. Yeah. So yeah, that's crazy shit, man. Yeah, I don't know what to think. I'm so excited for the finale next week, because I mean, we got the steel cage, the 3-way for the Gauntlet of the Gods, and then of course, Puma and Mundo for the world title, career versus title, as a matter of fact. So yeah, a lot of crazy shit next week. But yeah, I've got really nothing else to say about the cinematic. So unless you do, we can move on to our next segment of the show. Let's do it, brother. High spots and low shots. And you know what? I'm going to say that my low shot is Son of Havoc. Your dream was to make it to the main event of Ultima Lucha Trace after being screwed out of it, and you were right there. You just had to win one more match, because he already declared that he was going to cash in during the world title match and make it a triple threat. That did not happen. Son of Havoc lost, so he is my low shot, because he just missed out on his opportunity there. Son of Havoc essentially lost twice, because that fear factor through the chairs could have been the first loss, and then Pentagon was like, I'm going to have mercy on you so that I can inflict even more damage, and he let Son of Havoc recover from that, only to put him through a table afterwards. Yeah, he was eviscerated tonight. Not a good night for Son of Havoc. I'll tell you what, though, man, as bad of a night as Son of Havoc had, at least he main evented, and he got to, at least get like a shot, and, he was treated with respect and all that. My low shot's going to go to the Reptile Tribe. They got the jobber entrance, and they did the job, and they lost their championships on their first
defense. And if you really think about it, the only reason they won the championships in the first place was because it was essentially 3-on-2 because Drago defected in the match they won the titles in. So how credible are these guys really?
Yeah, that's an excellent point, as a matter of fact. Can't argue with it. Moving right along, you know what? I got to. My high spot is going to be the new Trios champions, Mac, Killshot, and Dante, with particular emphasis on Killshot and Dante, because holy hell, you guys go out there again, and in real time, not that much time at all, as Ashton already established, and have another barn burner of a match, and you finally got to taste Aztec Gold. This is where Mac also comes in the picture, because this is his first Lucha Underground Championship as well. I think it's so deserved for all three of these guys. All three of these guys have really done exceptional for themselves this season and have produced quality work. I mean, these are the three guys to me that, along with many others, are going to carry Lucha Underground on its back, you know, for the future, you know, season 4 or 5 and, you know, beyond. And yeah, really have to give them props here. I'm just so proud of their efforts. I'm curious who you're going to pick for your high spot, but I just had to in this case, man. They impressed me too damn much. It was an easy call.
I mean, I feel like I don't really have much of a choice for my high spot but to pick Pentagon. I mean, I'm sure as hell not going to pick Sexy Star, and there's not really anyone as far as cinematics go that I can pick. So the only other choice that I have is Pentagon. So yeah, I'm going to have to roll with Pentagon Dark as my high spot. And here's the thing, dude. I while you were talking there, I was kind of looking on like social media, Twitter, Reddit, that kind of stuff. And even though you and I are lower on that main event match, and some other people might be as well, the general consensus is, holy shit, yes, Pentagon is the Gift of the Gods champion.
Yeah, so it's great to see that he's still the level of over that he is.
Yeah, like he is way, way more over with the general Lucha Underground audience than he is with us in particular.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I used to be super high on Pentagon, but I feel like the bloom's kind of off the rose a little bit for me. I will be curious, though, if he has a successful cash-in, because now you just got to wonder, when is he going to cash that baby in, how he'll be as Lucha Underground champion, because maybe that's, like, what's needed for me to be like, oh, shit, that's right, Pentagon Dark is
Well, and that's another thing, too. You would expect if he was planning on cashing in next week, we would have seen a cinematic tonight of him talking to Cueto about that.
Yeah. And we didn't.
Remember, Cueto has made it very clear that if you're going to cash in with Gift of the Gods, you need to do it a week ahead of time, and not just so that the fair fight, but so Cueto can promote that match. There is nothing that we know about going into next week about Pentagon cashing in, so it seems like he's just not going to do it.
Yeah, it seems like he's just going to hold on to it for
season 4. Have to wait for season 4.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's very telling. So we'll see what happens next week. But I do agree. You know, Pentagon had a great night. Can't argue there. Are there any concluding remarks that you have about Night 3 of Ultima Lucha Trace before the finale next week?
It was a really fun show. Like I said, I absolutely loved the trios match, and the last luchador standing match surprised me. A little bit disappointed by the main event, but it was still decent for most of it, and I'm just super psyched for next week. And we finally know what the show is that the El Rey Network wants to debut and use Lucha Underground's audience to catapult its first episode viewership. And if I remember correctly, it's called Bushido Underground. So literally leapfrogging off of the blank Underground name and going from Lucha to Bushido. I love it, man.
I dig it.
I'm going to check it out for sure, and that's what they planned on. They were hoping that the final episode of Ultima Lucha Trace would allow them to lead into a new programming to get more eyes on that product, and hopefully it works. Hopefully we're not the only ones that continue watching and check it out.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. With that said, guys, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-host and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment, subscribe, and like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Lucha Underground reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best,
and actually, I made a mistake. It's not Bushido Underground. It's Bushido Battleground. So that was my mistake.
That's fine. As I said, guys, be sure to leave a like and all that stuff. All of our Lucha Underground content is in the description box, broken down by playlist. So if you're a newbie to our Lucha Underground reviews, we have our playlist categorized so you can catch up. And if you're a long-time listener and maybe you want to revisit some of your favorite Lucha Underground reviews / live reactions, all the content is there at your disposal. All of our media is also in the description box. You can find mine and Ashton's Twitter handles, the TWitWoW Facebook, and the TWitWoW subreddit. 2 pieces of media that I want to plug very quickly. First of all, the Teespring. We've got the real face of the Women's Revolution, an Emma t-shirt, which WWE Shop won't give her. Ashton made a shirt for Emma. I think it's one of the best shirts that he's done. Fantastic. Go check it out if you're an Emma fan. Of course, also our Braun Strowman-inspired tee. I'm not finished with you! That's also great if you want to tell any obstacle in your life or any person that you're not finished with it. Instill fear in their heart. That's the shirt for you. And we have a bunch of other great offerings, TWitWoW related merch. I'm a TWitWoW guy or girl because we believe in that equality. Yeah. And, famous shirts like Kevin Owens because he's a father. Damn it. So it's all on the Teespring. Be sure to check it out. Also, guys, the Patreon. Patreon's big because we've got big things in the works. As far as the Patreon goes, our goal is to get to $120 a month so that we can do Progress live reactions. If you notice, haven't been doing SmackDown live reactions for a good while. Our Tuesdays are wide open. We'd like to fill that void with Progress live reactions, but we want to get to that $120 amount. I think Progress is an amazing promotion. There's a lot of great stuff to be, reacted to on there. You guys know how I can lose my shit with great wrestling, and Ashton as well. We're currently sitting at $97 per month. So we're $23 shy of the goal. And if you want to help close that gap, if you haven't already, the best way to do it, in my mind, is to join the Discord because it's only $3. You get exclusive, TWitWoW access, to Ashton and myself and the most hardcore of TWitWoW fans on the Discord, and you can talk about virtually whatever you like. There are tabs for just about everything on the TWitWoW Discord. And the best part about the $3 is not only do you push us closer to our goal of Progress Live reactions, not only do you get that kind of access, but the $3 a month, for as long as you retain your membership, that $3 accrues. So if you're a member of the Discord, say hypothetically for 10 months, that amounts to $30. You can cash that in for a live reaction to a 3-hour show, or you can break it down for old school NXT reviews. It's all listed there in the Patreon, and you guys will definitely want to check that out. So really wanted to plug that. Now, just to get the other plugs out of the way, in the immediate future, NXT review tonight. It's going to be a great show. We're starting the women's triple threat matches, the qualifiers for TakeOver Houston. We've also got the rematch between Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas that I'm very much excited for. So you can catch our review of that show later tonight when we're through with it. And then in the further future, just want to plug Q&A that this month. That's going to be October 26th. Is Q&A. I've already gotten a few questions on my pinned tweet. You know where to submit questions: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Discord. Best places to submit to TWitWoW Q&A questions. Everybody's permitted up to 4 questions per Q&A, and you can divvy them up however you like. All 4 could be for me, all 4 could be for Ashton, and best case, all 4 could be for both of us. So you get 2 perspectives for 1 question. Get your Q&A questions in if you haven't, guys, and we'll be answering them all on the 26th. So with that said, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. So this is it, guys. Ultima Lucha Trace Night 3 is in the books. 1 week left, the 2-hour special. And we will see you later tonight for our NXT review. Until then, tune in and peace out.